Okay, we are at 5:30. Open the meeting. Laura, do we still have that? We haven't done a virtual meeting in a while.
I have the introduction. I'll read it. I figured we need it.
Okay, and
Okay.
if you're not speaking, can you please mute? Thank you. Okay, Laura.
All right, great. This open meeting of the Mendon Select Board is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's updated guidance on holding meetings pursuant to the Act extending certain COVID-19 measures that was signed into law on June 16th, 2021. This act includes an extension until April 1st, 2022 of the remote meeting provisions of his March 12th, 2020 executive order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. For this meeting, the Mendon Select Board is convening by telephone video conference as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. This meeting will feature public comment. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Laura. All right, so we need to open the FY22 property tax classification hearing.
I move to open the FY22 property tax classification hearing.
Second.
Notice, the Mendon Select Board will hold a public hearing on property tax. Are we echoing? The Mendon Select Board will hold a public hearing on property tax classification Monday, November 22nd, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. This will be a remote meeting. Instructions for public attendance and participation will be posted with the meeting's agenda on the town's website calendar. There will be several policy decision alternatives discussed by those present before Select Board determine the guidelines to be established for allocating the percentage of the tax burden for residential, commercial, industrial, and personal property. Interested taxpayers may present written testimony by 4 p.m. on November 22, 2021 to the Select Board's office by email at bosadmin@mendonma.gov. Oral testimony may be given at the hearing, but will be limited to 3 minutes per taxpayer. Information on classification may be obtained from the Assessor's office in the Town Hall.
Okay, roll call vote is needed. All in favor?
Tenio, aye. You're muted.
Real eye, Morales muted.
Sorry, Raleigh, aye.
Okay. All right, I believe the assessors are on here. We have Mr. Kevin Rudden. We have Principal Assessor Jean Berthold. And is any other members on? Kevin, do you know, or Jean?
No, that's it from the board.
Just you guys. Okay. All right. You want to go through your presentation?
Jean, do you have something to ask first?
Are we doing the first or the second revision? I sent you 2 recaps. I don't know if the board had a moment to discuss.
We haven't, because we just opened the public portion of the meeting, obviously. But so you did send us an email today that kind of outlines 2 different options. One is to not capture the total excess levy, correct? And the other is a way that we can capture the entire amount and tax to the levy. So you need us to decide which route we're going, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's have a little conversation about that. My thoughts, I always would love to just give all, not tax the levy every year, but we tend to kind of need to do that. And especially with the school budget the way it is, it's likely that we will need every last penny. But I'm open to other thoughts from my board members as well.
Well, my thought is that if I'm reading this right, it's six cents on 1,000. If we need it in the future, we don't lose the ability to capture it. It just would add on to whatever we need to capture in a future fiscal year. Is that correct?
Well, it adds on to our levy limit, So
Right.
say we weren't to capture it this time, we could in the future tax to a higher level.
Yes, but I
And
think,
that's happened in the past, right, Gene, where I think one year we had about 100,000 or so excess levy. We didn't tax to the levy limit, and then the following year we did, and that created some confusion and some
well,
angst.
it creates a much bigger hit when you don't bring them up incrementally.
Right.
But the size of that hit is only the, in other words, this year it's 6 cents on 1,000. And in
Which
no
on the
case,
average household would be $30 for the year.
right. So whether we increase it $30 this year or another year if we need it, it still would be never more than that $30.
I think you always need it, though.
So I have a quick question about it. So if it's $30 this year and it was $20 next year, plus, you know, which, and maybe I'm saying this wrong, so just bear with me for a moment. So say this year it's $30 per household, and next year, let's just use even numbers. Next year it was another $30 per household. Now that would be, we would be doing $60 per household if we went to the full levy limit. If next year we decided we needed 40 of the 60, can we just tax to that portion of it? Or do we have to go to the, it's either go to the limit or don't go to the limit?
No, no. You can tax whatever you want up until the limit, but just remember that people are protected by Proposition 2.5. So taxing up to the levy is not unreasonable. And I think that, you know, you need to capture all of the excess you can, because like Mark said, there are times that you need money for different things. And the way it'd be done this way is would flow into free cash for next year.
Okay. So let me pose it.
I'm willing to do it as long as we take that money and put it into stabilization.
Yeah, so it's going to free cash, so that
It'll go to
conversation.
free cash next year. So you can't capture it this year.
Right.
Other than it will lower the estimated receipts. So next year, hopefully the receipts come in higher, but they may come in lower. I mean, this is also a cushion we have on our estimated receipts.
Okay.
Well, I know we did discuss, you know, increasing the amount we put into stabilization to kind of build that up. So I wouldn't, I feel the same way Lonnie does. If we're going to do it, to put it in the savings or in the stabilization, I'd be okay with that extra 6 cents of the $30 as long as it goes into stabilization.
You can
Okay.
make that determination next year when it becomes free cash.
Right. Well, we can't, I realize we can't do it now, but
No,
but it's good to be on record now that that's the way that.
yes.
All right. So with that, I think, Gene, you have your answer on which option we're going with.
Okay, door number 2, Kevin.
1541, Gene?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the levy for fiscal year 2022, which is the amount to be raised through taxes, is twofold. It includes the actual operating budget levy of $17,527,266, the various debt exclusions at $1,130,702, for a total levy of $18,657,968. The new growth for fiscal 22 is $287,134. We had an increase of $141,804,400 in taxable valuation. This breaks out to the residential share of the valuation is 89.0448%, commercial 5.8694%, industrial 0.367%, and personal property 4.7221%. A factor of 1, that is a single rate would result in a tax of $15.41 per thousand evaluation for all classes of property. The average value for single-family home in fiscal 22 is $505,000. That's an approximate 13% increase in value from fiscal year 2021 values. The overall townwide annual revaluation and certification resulted in a 13% median increase in valuation on residential properties and a 3% median increase on commercial properties. We have some examples of how that would play out for tax bills. And basically at a $565,000 home would be paying, when you add in the CPA, would be paying $8,912.62 in taxes. A $500,000 home would be $8,596.48. A 678 home would be $10,716.42, and a $600,000 home would be $10,325.85. The debt exclusion impact: the land purchase at Pheno and the fire station is 22 cents. The Clough renovation, 26 cents. The Misco Hill repair, school repair is 6 cents. The library purchase and renovation is 16 cents, and the police station is 23 cents. And those debt exclusions add up to a total of 93 cents per thousand within that tax rate. We've given you some examples on a tax rate shift. If you wanted a dual rate at 150% shift, the tax rate would be $14.46 per residence and $23.12 for businesses. At 110% shift, the rates would be $15.22 residential, $16.95 commercial. In a 100% one shift, $15.39 residential, $15.56 for commercial. So the first thing we ask you to do is whether or not you want a single rate or a dual rate, and we've given you examples at a 1% commercial shift, a 10%, and a 50% shift on commercial. So that is your board's decision on whether to have a single rate or a dual rate. The second thing we ask you to vote on is whether or not to grant a residential exemption. That shifts the tax burden within the residential class from owners of moderately valued residential properties to the owners of vacation homes, higher valued homes, and residential properties not occupied by the owners, such as apartments and land. The other decision you need to make is whether to grant a small commercial exemption that would create larger commercial, that would have larger commercial businesses subsidize smaller ones. To receive that exemption, though, commercial parcel must be occupied by a business with an average annual employment of no more than 10 adult locations and have a value less than $1 million. For historical reference, we have never granted the residential or small commercial exemptions. So again, the three decisions are a single or dual tax rate, granting the residential exemption, and granting the commercial exemption.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Questions from the public? Okay, hearing none, I'll accept the motion to close the hearing.
So, hold on, do we close the hearing after we set these? I'm just looking at.
No, I think we have to
Oh, I
close.
see now, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I move to close the FY22 property tax classification hearing.
Second.
Before we close it, Laura, we didn't get any written testimony or?
No, we did not. I did not receive any calls or emails or visits.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mark, if I could just point out, I received one phone call asking that we keep to one rate.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. All right, all in favor?
Tenio, aye.
Raleigh, aye.
Real aye. Okay, the tax classification hearing is closed. Now decide if we want a single or dual rate.
I move to adopt a single tax rate for the town of Mendon FY22.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I know that in the past we've stuck with the single rate because our commercial base is still so small that the impact to the commercial side would be so large and the residential relief would be small. So at this time, we're continuing, it looks like we're going to be continuing that. So all in favor?
Tenio, aye.
Raleigh, aye.
Real aye. Okay, and then we have to decide on whether or not to adopt residential exemption.
I move to not adopt a residential exemption for FY22.
Second.
All in favor?
Tenio, aye.
Raleigh, aye.
Real aye. And then we need to decide on the adoption of a small commercial exemption.
I move to not adopt a small commercial exemption for FY22.
Second.
All in favor?
Tenio, aye.
Raleigh, aye.
Real aye. Okay, that is all we have.
Thank you, gentlemen. Jean, did we dispose of all the business?
Yes, we did. Thank you.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Thank
folks.
you, everyone.
I
Thanks
just
for
want to
all your
add
hard work
one
on
thing, just for a point of information,
Okay,
that the residential percentage is the highest it's been in over 10 years.
in terms of an increase, is that what you're,
Well, it's now the residential part of the town occupies over 89%, hasn't been that high in over 10 years. So we're building
Yeah.
houses a lot faster than we can get commercial properties in here.
oh, I see.
Right.
Yeah.
All the more reason to keep the single rate.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yes, although
you.
although the board didn't, of assessors did not take a vote on it, personally, I have to say I favor the single rate to keep the small businesses we have in business.
Right.
Absolutely.
Very good. Awesome. Well, any other comments?
So just thank you, everybody, for all your hard work putting this together. I appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Tenio, aye.
Raleigh, aye.
Real aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye.